We have the tea and cake. It's time to start table talk. Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I actually had this set up and I did table talk where I explain things about my life. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys my experience as a design research assistant, or mainly research assistant. So this is mainly for people who are interested in this job or have no idea what I'm doing or just simply curious. I have some cake here and I'm just going to have some tea and cake while I explain this whole journey of mine. So sit back and relax. I have my notes here to prepare, like an actual research assistant would. So what I do is, as the title suggests, I assist, naturally, in any way possible. I work with my lecturer in a university and my previous video explains how I got the job in the first place. So basically just two of us working on this project. Now for the brief. Our client hired us to redesign their current design. So basically they have a set of information and it will look something like this. You can see that information is put into a table with colors, and apparently they didn't understand this data. We were then employed to work with them on figuring out a better way to design this. My role was to actually help my lecturer to come up with better ideas and also to submit a finalized conclusion on what we think was the best idea. So now I'll walk you guys through what were the steps I took and also the stages we've done. Step number 1, we had to first analyze the problem. This is actually very basic and also what anyone would do in any field. It's also the part where most of the research comes in. We had to find out what the issue was, why the client didn't understand their own design. If you don't like reading, this is not the job for you, I think. Now that we know what the problem was, we have to find out what is a better way to represent those information. So if you saw those information, they were put together in a table format. Now I was tasked with finding ways we can change that. Instead of a table, maybe we could put them in different shapes that seem more interesting. I have here some ideas on what they could be. So I tried out different sketches and prototypes. So examples could be a Venn diagram, a triangle, or also a timeline. And I did hundreds of prototypes, obviously more complex than this, where we would see which one represented the data more better and more interestingly. And after that, we basically narrowed it down to 3 top choices, 3 shapes that we wanted, and now phase 2 begins. We do a workshop. This workshop invites the clients together and we host this event where we get them to see our 3 ideas. We get them to pick which one they think is the better idea to replace theirs, and we also get input from them too. Side role as a research assistant, I had to be the journalist for this event. I had to take photographs, I had to write down their comments, scribbling like mad because they were talking so fast, multitasking, setting up the table, bringing the props, arranging logistics. So basically you are all in one. You design the prototypes and at the same time you do the logistics too. Okay. Time for a cake. Oh, it's so good guys, it's orange cake. Slightly sour too. Now after the workshop, we bring back all the information that we obtained, photographs, scribbles, evidence, transcriptions, kind of like archive everything systematically. Photos would go in this part, pictures, words, and the next phase after that. What was the phase again? Write a report. Now, all those bits of information that we obtained from our study and also from the workshop, we will put together into this one report where we will document everything. So now my role again as a research assistant is I have to make sure the layout is very consistent and make sure that I obtain the data from my lecturer who would write up the executive summary and also the opening words, fine details, the conclusion, and just gather all of it together in this one nice document and double check everything. Now you become the proofreader, the copy editor, the designer too. And once we had the whole report done, now I had to call the printer and send this document off to the printer with a nice price because we wanted designer paper. It couldn't be just any paper, it had to be nice paper. and we sent it off to the printer, and for my role, I had to pick up the reports. We printed a few copies, one for ourselves and one for the client. And yeah, once we were happy with the results, we kind of let the client see and review the report and get the feedback. And now the best part. These whole 4 phases repeat themselves over and over again. From analyzing the problem, to prototyping, to doing workshop, to doing reports. We repeated this whole process about 3 times. And I would say it's quite exciting because every time you come back, you get different findings and different research. Once we reached the conclusion towards the end, we nailed down one design that we liked. And this is where my part was most intense. I had to, as a designer this time, finalize everything. The colors, the shape, the icons. From something like this simple, had to evolve into something really nice and complex looking. It had to look really professional. It had to look really cohesive, matching their brand identity. And of course, getting their feedback too. So every time they send one feedback, I had to change the ideas too. It was quite a struggle because up to the very end, both us, the researchers, and the clients didn't know what we wanted. It kept changing non-stop, and got to a point where we had to make a final decision and just confirm for the client because they couldn't decide. We just confirmed it for them. Whew. Cake time again. I'm trying the other one this time. Ooh, strawberry mousse. That's nice. And finally, towards the end of the last phase, we wrap up everything, we write a conclusion report, the maps are all nice and designed, and we send it off to the client. And I said goodbye to the project. I don't know, for me, being a research assistant was something really shocking. I didn't know I was going to be one when I graduated as a graphic designer. I thought I was going to be in a design agency doing advertising, but I couldn't really find a job, and this one called out to me. So I just took it, and it really surprised me on just how different it was to be a research assistant. I think it takes more, what's the word? 1, resilience, 2, dedication, and 3, patience. Because when you're researching, you don't know the outcome. No one knows the outcome at all. Even though from day one we kind of have an idea of what we wanted to get, everything went up to a mess and we just couldn't see the end of the tunnel. So yeah, you kind of need to have the patience to go through this, and repetition is going to be very common. You're going to be doing a lot of things the same time over and over again. Research assistants that are tied up to universities are normally doing academic projects, so do know that this is going to be up there in the scholar websites. Yeah, it's going to be published and people are going to see your work. It's quite, fulfilling, I guess. So that's it guys, my whole experience detailed out for those who were wondering what I've been doing the whole time. I just didn't have the time to explain to each one individually, so this video is going to help you guys too to understand if you want to get this job or not. And now I will finish up this cake with my cup of tea, and I will see you guys next time.